Here we see another golfer, this one standing on the other side of the golf ball, who has a tendency to open his shoulders left of the target line. I know where he was aiming because he told me he was aiming right out towards this little group of trees right out here. His feet are sort of parallel to that, but it's pretty obvious that his shoulders are pointing way off over here somewhere. So what we want to do is we want to watch the takeaway and see if his takeaway is going to allow him to get into a position to hit the ball to his trees, which was his target. So what he's going to do is he's going to take the club to the backswing, move along slowly here. Okay, now notice the club is really shut at this point right now, and he's lifting the club almost straight up, outside of his head even. Hasn't turned much. Now we get a little turn. Now what's going to happen is he's going to come well over the top, see, way out over the top, and he's going to turn into the shot, and he's going to leave himself in a stuck position. He hasn't been able to rotate his hips into the shot, or still into the shot, because if he did, he'd yank the ball hard to the left. As it is, that ball took a mad slice off to the right. Start with the first fundamental, which is your connection to the ground, the club, and your target line. Shoulders, hips, knees, and feet need to be parallel to the target line. Let's watch the swing first in slow motion. A little collapsing right there at the top. Really a pretty good move all in all. There's a couple of errors we see, and that as he's coming into the ball, right here he's in good shape. As he moves into the ball, you can see that he's flipping the club head a little bit, and his hand stays under the club just a little too long. That's one issue, but the main issue I think is right here, is that the club is staying too long. I mean, the arms are staying folded too long. We need to get him to get rid of that fold at the top of the backswing. Get a little more width. Then we see the hips move forward, pretty nice, clear out. The heel doesn't spin too far behind him. Right there it starts to spin behind him. We never want to see the heel of this foot go around behind you. This foot down here. See how it goes around behind him? That's a spin out move rather than a forward shift move. We've drawn a lot of angles in here, one showing the spine angle, one showing the setup angle of the hands. So let's pay attention to the blue line first. Club's going to start back. Pretty good on that line. See how the club now is parallel with the target line. The hands are over the toes, maybe a little far out, but pretty close. Up to the top, good position there, great height. Now she's going to try to drop back down in under the blue line, but look at that. She comes way over the top of the blue line, cuts across the ball, and rotates into the shot. Never quite finishes the rotation. So we'll just take the red lines out, which she stayed on real good. We'll just watch again. In slow motion, watch what happens. Taking it back a little to the inside, comes over the top of the blue line on the way down, loses her angles. Need to make sure our hands return to where they were at setup. Let's watch this swing in slow motion, too far to the inside, and then a little bit over the top. What that really means is that he's taking the club back. The club, when it's at the toe line, should be on about that line right there. His hand should be over his toes. So they're way inside the toe line, and the club was way stuck behind him. When the hands are about there, the club head should block the camera's view of the hands. So he's taking the club too far to the inside, gets to a nice position at the top, but then sort of has to flip at it on the way down. Club's open, rotates through, and then he gets stuck on the whole right side, never comes through. At this point here, we should see both pockets. These pockets right there. See those pockets? You can only see one. We want to see both butt pockets. Got to turn into the shot if you can. We have a setup issue here with this golfer. From behind, we can tell that the lead shoulder is pointing well right of the target line. We know that because we can't see the lead arm, or in this case the right arm, at all until he starts his backswing a little ways. The right arm, or the lead arm, should definitely be higher than the trail arm, more like that at setup. We know now that he's facing the target line rather than the ball. With a driver, we really want to face center line rather than the ball, so our shoulders aren't open producing a slice. Now notice that he's pulling the club, because of that setup, he's pulling the club way back to the inside, rotating the hands over probably a little too much right in here. Go to the top of the backswing. Not a bad move right there. Now he's going to drive down into the shot. Pretty good position right there. You see, as he's coming into the shot, you can see that the trail arm and the shaft are in good line there. He's going to turn the club, rotate through it, but you can see that the ball is going out to the left a little bit, and that's the slice, because his swing plane has to be left to right. We're going to see a golfer here with a good on-plane backswing. Notice as he goes back, the head of the club stays on the red line, right up his plane angle. Hands are above his toes, the club's outside the hands, right on plane perfectly. Look at the shaft angle is right on plane. But then unfortunately he does what a lot of folks do, come over the top with the club. You can see how the club's well above the line. And what that causes is you're going to swing the club that way to get back to the golf ball. You can see that the golf ball's under the red line, at the end of the red line. So for him to hit the red line, he has to pull the club in, flip under his hands, flip at the ball to make contact. If we could get him to route that club down and in, he can be hitting it out away from his body and putting a nice draw on it, nice right to left draw. Look at the relationship between the golf shaft and the arms at setup, 145 degrees. Watch as we move into the swing, nice and easy. Pretty decent takeaway. Head staying nice. The blue line still bisects the neck. Then he kind of drops a little bit. Little Tiger Woods move there. That's not bad. Coming into the shot. Watch the head come up. Up. Now, look where his hands are at impact. They've raised way up, creating the only path the club can take now is to dart quickly to the inside and flip under the club. There's no way to rotate that club successfully from that position. We need to strive to get our impact position to match our setup position. Beginning meets the end. Let's watch the swing in slow motion first. Pretty decent takeaway. Not a bad shift into the lead side, but again we see another golfer with the trail foot kind of spinning out behind him a little bit and losing some balance. That generally means I haven't really shifted my weight into the lead side through impact. Let's watch. See how we stuck right there? See how the right hand is under the golf club? If you look closely, you can see that it's under that golf club, and it stays under that golf club as we move into the shot. Stays under, stays under. We need to rotate or supinate that hand, the left hand, okay? From the face-on view, we want to see this golfer shift her lower body under her head into the blue line. We'll watch this in slow motion. Collapsing of the left knee, straightening of the right knee. Can't do that. Stop, moves into the shot. And notice she's actually moved further away from the blue line. That's again because of the treacherous slipping of the back foot. Look at that foot. The heel should never be behind the toes in this swing. We're actually going to drive the heel into the target, and the foot's going to rotate straight up. Not at an angle, not slipped out from behind. There is no weight transfer. You can see that her lower body hasn't shifted that way.